Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. We are one day closer to that huge Scottish Cup final this weekend, but we turn our attentions away from it once more today to talk about a few other things in the world of Celtic Football Club. For all of you gripped by international tournament fever, the Euros this summer, we have our Scotland squad announcement, which contains, of course, a few of the Celtic boys. So that, a few other stories to go over as we get ever closer to this game at the weekend. Let's just get into it. Let's talk about the news. Hello, welcome back to the channel. If you haven't already, make sure to hit like and subscribe. It'd be much appreciated as we try and get towards 50,000 subscribers this year. The support has been magic. We are now in the final week of the season. As we know, we're basically there. One more game. And your support throughout this entire campaign has been unmatched. No year has been as good as this year for myself, and I thank you all for that. So let's keep that up. Hit both of those buttons. It's absolutely free. Let's get into the news, shall we? This morning, the Scottish national team announced their provisional 28-man squad for the Euro 2024 tournament this summer. Of course, this provisional squad will be trimmed from 28 to 26, but with all the guys involved from Celtic, it looks as though they have a real chance of being selected in that final squad. Only 2 names will be trimmed. Will it be 2 Celtic players? I doubt it. We'll have a look. We'll try and look at realistically who's going to go on the plane to Germany next month. But here was the squad announced by Scotland this morning. If you are obviously excited for the tournament and you're supporting Scotland, you'll be buzzing for this announcement. I'll run through the provisional squad very quickly. The goalkeepers, Zander Clark, Craig Gordon, Angus Gunn and Liam Kelly. Defenders, Liam Cooper, Grant Hanley, former Celtic player Jack Hendry, Ross McCrory, Scott McKenna, Ryan Porteous, current Celtic player Anthony Ralston, the first Celtic player on the list. He's joined by Greg Taylor, as you can see, just a little bit further down. In between them, there's Andy Robertson and John Souttar, and then finished with Kieran Tierney. The midfielders, Stuart Armstrong, Ryan Christie, Billy Gilmore, Ryan Jack, John McGinn, Callum McGregor, Kenny McLean and Scott McTominay. And the forwards on the plane, Che Adams, Ben Doak, Lyndon Dykes, James Forrest and Lawrence Shankland. So there you go. That is your full 28-man provisional Scotland squad, which is set to be trimmed to a 26-man squad in the coming weeks. But a few Celtic players on the list, which you love to see. So obviously the 4 Celtic men on the list that we just went through: Captain Callum McGregor, Anthony Ralston, Greg Taylor and James Forrest. Pretty much the 4 you would expect to be on the plane, so a good result for Celtic with them being selected. But the thing is, I don't expect any of these guys to be trimmed from the squad. If there was any to be trimmed, I think that it would maybe be Greg Taylor, but I don't even think he will be. I think we should expect to see all 4 of these players involved in the full 26-man squad come the final announcement, which is great, fantastic. Doesn't mean that they're going to play all the time. I don't exactly see Greg Taylor starting many games at the actual tournament in Germany, but to be involved and to be included in that experience is fantastic. It's a real testament to the work that they've put in over the last few years. And it's a massive opportunity as well, especially for one guy, that being Anthony Ralston. Anthony Ralston's a certainty to be picked, and not only just a certainty to be picked, but potentially going to be the starting right back for Scotland at this tournament. And say what you like, if you think that's a good thing or a bad thing or whatever, that's a real honour. Congratulations to him. He's found himself in a position where obviously Aaron Hickey, Nathan Patterson, both unavailable for selection due to injury, which means he's the only fit right back on the plane. So unless Stevie Clark wants to experiment and start throwing big lumpy centre-halves, big slow, clunky, horrid players over on the right-hand side of the park, Tony Ralston's probably going to start. He's probably going to be the right back that has to play the majority of games for Scotland through this tournament. So it's a massive opportunity for Anthony Ralston. He's definitely going to be involved in that finalised 26-man squad. And I'll be eager to see how he does for the Scottish national team. Of course, he's not had a great deal of chances. When he has, I feel like he's impressed. But this is his biggest opportunity yet. So looking forward to see how that goes. Callum McGregor, you would be expecting to start every game as well at the Euros, one of Scotland's best midfielders of the past, 10 years, you could say. James Forrest, a huge opportunity for him back in the mix for a Scotland spot after a while away from the Scotland team and a while away from the Celtic team as well. So it's nice to see Forrest involved again. He's more than deserving after his form in this second half of the season. Do I expect to see him start games? Probably not, especially because Scotland don't even start with wingers half the time. So maybe we'll see glimpses of him as the tournament goes on, but nice to see them on the play. And of course, these are 4 winners. These are 4 guys who are used to winning games and winning trophies, so it's just an overall positive to have them involved in the squad altogether. So I'm hoping all 4 of them make the cut. If I was to take a random stab in the dark of 2 players who will be cut, there's one guy in there in particular who I don't even understand is why is he in the provisional squad. I don't know. Yeah, and I don't know who else will be cut from the squad. Hopefully it's not Greg Taylor. Obviously we do have Andy Robertson there, but Greg Taylor would be good coverage. Probably going to be one of the goalkeepers, to be quite honest. So I think the 2 that go pretty much pick themselves for me if I was picking. But aye, there's your squad. So talking about Scotsmen, let's move on to Daniel Kelly, of course, the young Scotsman who broke onto the first team scene at Celtic over the past few months. His Celtic future might be no more in a few weeks' time. He might be gone from Celtic as contract negotiations are still underway at the club. This headline was put up by Football Scotland early this morning, saying that Daniel Kelly's improved Celtic contract offer has been tabled as Bayer Leverkusen make transfer approach. So we did hear rumours for a while over the past couple of months that Bayer Leverkusen, of course, the current German champions, the new German champions, were interested in signing Daniel Kelly, which automatically you think to yourself, well, he's off then. He's off. We're not going to compete with Leverkusen. However, we did hear that if Celtic improved their offer and gave him an offer he thought was good enough, then he would consider staying at the club. We've not heard much of an update since. However, Football Scotland reported this morning, saying that Daniel Kelly will sit down with Celtic for more contract talks this week, despite interest from the invincible Bayer Leverkusen. The academy player of the year has a number of suitors around Europe, with Xabi Alonso's side keen to discover the Hoops' asking price for the starlet. Sources in Germany have made it clear to Football Scotland that the 18-year-old is considered a serious talent for the age group, and that Leverkusen are hoping to strike a deal. So one of these classic scenarios where Celtic are going to find it hard to compete with Europe's top sides. Leverkusen under Xabi Alonso have been a different animal. They have went invincible, winning the German Bundesliga this season. They are potentially about to go invincible in winning the DFB Pokal this season as well, the equivalent of the Scottish Cup. And they're about to go invincible in winning the UEFA Europa League as well. They are having a season like no other. This even trumps our invincible season a few years back, which was pretty hard to do. They're about to do it if they win it and both trophies left up for grabs. Unbelievable season, a very attractive position for a young player to go to right now, especially if a manager like Xabi Alonso, who has invested so much faith in younger players. I would not blame Daniel Kelly if he wanted to explore this move, if he doesn't feel like there's anything right now for him at Celtic. It's a hard team to break into. We know that the midfield is a stacked area. If he feels like there's a chance for serious development moving overseas to Germany, I wouldn't blame him. But Celtic definitely have to do their part in trying to create an opportunity for him and trying to give him a contract that suits his worth. Now, the thing is, Celtic don't have a lot of room for negotiation when it comes to an actual transfer to Leverkusen, due to the fact that Daniel Kelly's contract will be expiring. As it was reported in the National this morning, the report claims that a training compensation of under £500,000 is all that's needed to sign Daniel Kelly. So when Football Scotland reported that they're looking for what Celtic would expect, we don't have much wiggle room at all. We don't. It'll be a development fee of 500 grand. He'd be on his way. A pre-contract would be signed, and he would be a Leverkusen player next season. So Celtic haven't done the greatest job in protecting their asset here, especially if he is so highly thought of. This is somebody that we could have potentially made a few million quid out of if we were in a better placed situation, if we had given him a deal earlier. But no, we will probably lose him for about 500 grand should he decide to take the move. So Celtic need to put a serious deal on the table. You know, even if they sign a contract now and say, listen, we'll let you explore these options as the year goes on. If other teams are interested, we'll sit down and talk to them. But Celtic should put the money on the table for him. They should try and keep him here and see what happens. But I don't fancy our chances, to say the least. Remember, the club did actually sit down and offer Daniel Kelly and Rocco Vata a formal contract extension. Daniel Kelly rejected that contract extension a couple of weeks ago. So right now, I think his mind might be in a certain place in regards to this move and this opportunity that's rising with Bayer Leverkusen. We're just going to have to wait and see what happens. But apparently Leverkusen have made a formal approach. We might see Daniel Kelly leave the club very, very soon. Yesterday we sat down to discuss the players who could leave Celtic this summer. Daniel Kelly wasn't on that list, but one guy was, which was quite a surprise to me, and that was Stephen Welsh. Following from that news yesterday that we discussed, more headlines have emerged in regards to the future of Stephen Welsh and potentially where he could end up. This was in the record this morning. Stephen Welsh sees Celtic interest mount from the MLS and English Championship clubs, and the article goes on to say that several clubs have already registered an interest in the 24-year-old and is attracting major interest from Major League Soccer and the English Championship. So yeah, Stephen Welsh, we heard yesterday from Anthony Joseph, my bad. Anthony Joseph reported that if an offer comes in, Celtic are willing to hear it out and willing to let Stephen Welsh leave. He's one of a number of players they're willing to let leave this summer. So if one of these English Championship teams or MLS teams come in for him, I think that we might be seeing the back of Stephen Welsh in this transfer window, if stories are to be believed. So that's about it for today. All eyes on Saturday following this video. I think that everything I talk about the rest of this week will probably be in relation to that huge Scottish Cup final. So if you've been waiting for the build to that game, don't worry, it's coming. We'll be in the studio as well tomorrow night recording the Celtic the Thunder. So make sure to go and check out the Twitter tomorrow if you want to get any questions in or the like. But for today, that's about it. Not the busiest of news days, but we're on the road to Germany, I suppose, after Saturday. So if you're a big national team fan, you'll be excited. Of course, this is a time of the year where I put on my Scotland top and become a glory hunter and pretend I actually care. No, joking. Anyway, if you enjoyed, make sure to hit like and subscribe. I hope you have. Hope you're up to date. And I'll see you all next time.